Hello and welcome, everybody out there in Union Arena land. Today, we're going to be discussing the top 32 of the Los Angeles regionals that we just had and discussing about the health of the game and the overall potential health of our format and what we can glean from what is happening right now. Before we jump into the action, I do want to first shout out Egman Events for helping organize everything for this fantastic event. The stream was fantastic. It was glorious. The commentators, Div and Anto, two of my favorite creators in the Union Arena space. Everything about it was fantastic on their end. I love seeing them up there. Bandai, you can learn a thing or two for how they did this. It is fantastic. Mimic them or hire them, please. It'll go so well. But let's talk about what happened. And I'm sure you all have already seen a dozen different videos about what the meta looked like. And looking at this breakdown, well, we can gleam a certain thing about it right now. Everybody who is saying Red Kenshin is not something we need to be scared of, or that Purple Kenshin is not something we need to be scared of, I think the sweats of our game have proven it to us. Red Kenshin is without a doubt the best deck in format. Is it tier 0? That's to be determined, but I do think that a lot of people moved into this format not realizing a fundamental issue that newer IPs are going to be receiving and older IPs did not have is why, well, they're just going to be stronger. But let's get into that a little bit later as well. So, as we can see, in the top 32, we had 17 red Kenshin decks, 9 purple Kenshin Saito decks, 2 green Code Geass Lancelot decks, 2 blue Sukanas, 1 Roy, and 1 Renji Rush. So, the very, very dominant portion of this being Kenshin, over 75% of the entire format in the top 32 was 2 decks in Kenshin. That is not exactly something that is necessarily healthy for the format, but I don't think that people need to be doomsdaying just yet about this. I do wholeheartedly believe that the red Kenshin deck, though it is the best deck in the format, has some very, very hard counters that as soon as you know how to play them properly, you're going to be able to beat them up a little bit. And you can see these 2 decks right here as the hard red Kenshin deck counters. Roy Mustang is a deck that thrives when it gets to be reactive, and if you can't sideline Roy, he is exponentially more dangerous every single turn he is in play. Now, what did happen was this Roy player gleamed something that a lot of Roy players didn't gleam in the last 2 regionals that we had. They realized, that Alex Louis Armstrong here, this big fella right here, is a 4.5K. And you know what can't easily get through that? 4Ks. And it's double damage. Kenshin Red has a hand size problem. So it really can spiral out of control if it has a perfect draw, but its average draw does not. And it does not have many ways to get through Louis. Louis, like Roy, are must answer threats. When either of those cards are in play against your opponent, you need to look at them, you need to analyze, and you say they both have to go. Red Kenshin does not have the ability to necessarily do that unless they have 2 specials in hand. At most, they can go, we pushed back your guy to the back line, and okay, that's fine. I'm going to chump away with everything else. Nothing else in my field remotely matters, and they can move back and screw my energy line. I'm going to push out with something bigger and scarier. Very good hard counter. This player, I can't wait to track them down. I believe it is Nami Lover. I think I talked to them previously. I'm going to see if I can't get an interview with this individual because I want to see their insights. I'm a big Louis fan, and I think that was fantastic. The other deck, and the deck that I am much more worried about in our format than Red Kenshin, Purple Kenshin. This Saito deck, if you have not played against it, holy cow, is it terrifying. It is Karapika, but with the Kirito color trigger on, I think, a active trigger card, and rush out mechanics that equalize itself on AP. Yeah, with search. And to top all of that off, you get this little fellow right here. This card has been something that has been introduced to many different IPs in Japan. We've known that they were things for a while. I think My Hero Academia Volume 1 was the first one that had it. and they keep getting a little bit stronger and stronger and stronger. Fundamentally, this card is not a 0, but it's a 0 about 80% of the time, at least the first one that you're playing that's in your hand. Outside of that, it still curves perfectly. But a card you are able to play on turn 0, go, this is on my front line, 2.5k. You cannot push up with any of your 0 costs, because no 0 cost in NA outside of the one Kenshin is 2.5k. They're 2Ks, 15s, 1Ks, 500s. And then they get to say, even though I am a 6-drop deck, I am now the aggressor of this format. You and me, I am the aggressor. No matter what you are playing, I am the aggressor. That is something that this deck is able to do. Declare itself as the aggressor while going, oh, by the way, snipe you from the backline. This is my Kurapika. There's many like it. This one is mine. And being able to take over the tempo of the game off of a card like that. This deck is a very, very good way to counter Red Kenshin. It is not a perfect way, and I will say that it is very highly skill dependent with some RNG components to it as well. Your 1 cost is bigger than their 1 cost unless they have their 3k 0 cost. Sorry, your 2 cost 0 cost is bigger than their actual 0 cost unless it's the 3k one. Which means it's a little bit of a dice roll on that one if they could be the aggressor or not. But you having snipe as a mechanic and then pushing your guys back and you getting to redo your things, it's a cascading effect that is kind of scary. So yeah, these 2 decks are very good decks into Red Kenshin. And that is why I think that they were able to sneak up into here with relative ease. Outside of that, we have seen time and time again Renji Rush showing up, doing its thing. There's always one in the top 8, at least. And yeah, it is a fundamentally aggressive deck. It gets to play 4K bodies. If you can't remove their backline quickly enough, they're going to be able to just spam that out against you very easily. And at least with the Red Kenshin deck, this deck has a card tech that is, well, just incredible against Kenshin in general. These cards. Every single deck in every IP since the dawn of the game, I think, has these cards. If they are active, they generate 2 energy. You know what that means? You can play your 4-drops with only 2 of these on the backline or 1 of these and 2 other cards. You're leaving a spot on your backline open. You're not getting screwed by them attacking and pushing your things back. Combine that with a deck that says, hey, look at this. If I have 10 cards in my removal area, this guy has damage too. Oh no, you're pushing my guys back. They're in my removal area. Oh no. Damage too. Like, they are actively helping Ichigo get to that point, get to that degree. And they also only have 4 specials, so having 8 cards in your deck that potentially have damage 2 on them is going to be very difficult for them to deal with as well. I think Renji Rush, in the hands of an experienced, very good quality Renji player, is just going to maintain itself as that deck that is going to be oppressive. But yeah, I think these 3 decks speak volumes as to what you can do against Red Kenshin. Now, I can go through every single one of these decks and talk about all the minute changes and differences. At the end of the day, everybody's going to have a preference when it comes to their deck. These are the 2 decks that are the best ones that have come out so far. Red Kenshin, I think, is indisputably the best deck in format. Purple Kenshin is just an amazing counter against it, and it's a tier 1 deck right now. I am not doomsdaying saying Red Kenshin's tier 0, everybody has to freak out. I just think that it is a deck that fundamentally is very powerful. And Saito, I have not discovered a hard counter against Saito yet. And that is something else I want to discuss in this video. So, the fake 2-drop, the fake 0-drop, sorry, the 2-drops that are actually fake, these cards right here. These cards fundamentally change the game completely. And that is because they allow you to have a 0 cost that is a larger size than the 0s that your opponent is playing, while also giving your deck added bonus effects. I gathered up a small list of them that have various different things. We have the Bofrone one right here. It has Nullify Impact, relatively weak. We have the blue one right here. On play, look at the top 3, place 1 of them to your sideline, place the remaining on top of your deck. Really good. We've been talking about this guy left and right. This guy is the one that we didn't get in NA, thank goodness. It would have made the deck a lot faster, and it having step is just almost impossible to deal with. This one is vanilla, but it has a draw trigger. This one here, on play, draw 1, pitch 1. It's only a 15, but it's still a fake 2 cost, which is really good. And it's active main, rest it, sideline it, and add 1 character to 3 less cost from your sideline to your hand. Insanely good. On play, look at the top card of your deck. You can put it in your sideline or keep it there. Like all of these, you can tell the newer ones are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And they are things that new IPs are going to be coming to our format with. Meaning, if you're playing an older IP, the older IP has to not play aggro to be able to fundamentally beat it. Saito, the most aggressive deck that it had to play against outside of Red Kenshin was Renji Rush. And I'm not saying everybody's on it. I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of skill and intricacy that goes into piloting that type of aggro deck to a success. If you want to know more about that, go check out UA Players. They're our YouTube channel. Jane, who is the most winning person in UA right now, 3 top 16 performances in 3 regional events. Insane. She would be able to educate you on why Renji is so good. And if you watch any of her matches, I think one was streamed. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Maybe it wasn't streamed. I think, yeah, that was just word of mouth from Div that I heard. So yeah, this deck, you can't push up your 1 cost, but you do have 2 costs that can at least say, okay, you're aggressing me, I'm aggressing you, swinging with my 1 drop I put on the front line that generated me value. You need to get over that threshold, or it is going to be more aggressive than you. And it's still an 8 removal deck, and one of its removals is a Snipe Impactor 5k, who can be the 5th attack in the round. That is the problem. That is the scary deck in the format right now. Now, I don't want to doomsday the game whatsoever. I think UA is a fantastic game. I think that it is incredibly well balanced. I think that its gameplay and game style is so incredibly fun and unique compared to everything else, and I don't think it's going anywhere. The game's doing fantastically. But I would like to theory craft and brew some ways that Bandai can, A, make some more money, and B, more importantly, retain the health of its competitive meta. Because before this event, we had the healthiest looking regionals I have seen in competitive TCGs in like 5 years. Possibly longer than that. It looks so incredibly healthy. But you can't say that this looks healthy when 17 of the decks were Red Kenshin. You can't say it looks healthy. I don't think that this is going to be the situation when we get into, what's the next one we're dealing with? Canada? Somewhere in Canada. I don't know. One of the Canadian places. I don't think it's going to be this, widespread Kenshin everywhere, over 50% of the format for just Red. But I do think it's still going to be the best deck in format. I would like to say that Bandai should make a catch-up binder for NA. Now, for anybody who is unaware, the Bleach binder set came out, the special ones. It has an actual name. I always forget what it is. I call it the binder, where they're giving us exclusive cards that were meant to boost the IP of Bleach, all of the decks that weren't highly competitive and highly sought after. We are about to get them at the end of this month, recording this in October right now. Toshi's going to get ridiculously good. Kenpachi, ridiculously good. Yamamoto, almost playable. I'm very excited for all of these. Mayuri, scary RNG deck. I'm happy with that. But I think we should get a special set like that, where either they introduce, you buy this set for $25, all legacy IPs get for each color a fake 0 cost, much like all of these ones have. The 2Ks, the 2.5Ks, the synergistic on-play effects that match with what your deck is trying to do, all of that jazz. If they were able to do that, I think the health of our format would be incredible, unrivaled. We would be able to have so many different decks that went from being tier 3, tier 4, unplayable into Kenshin to, I might be able to do something now. Holy cow. I might be able to compete with it. I can play this into the meta, because I've been playing against Red Kenshin and doing a lot of testing at this point, to the point where I can solidly say I'm a little tilted against the matchup, but that's because how I'm testing against it. It is a gatekeep deck. It is going to gatekeep a large portion of our format from being competitive. If you don't have 8 pieces of removal, your deck's probably not competitive. If you don't have better damage and attacking sequences, your deck's probably not competitive. If you do not have ways to punish people for when they can actually sideline yourself while also being able to apply pressure and gain free blocks against Kenshin's, during your turn ability when that's actually active, your deck's not competitive. And you can't play it into Red Kenshin unless they brick. That's the only way that you can actually play. What I think them giving us these fake 2 costs in a binder set would allow all of these older decks to become more revitalized, get a second wind inside of them without needing a dedicated binder set just to the one IP. They could either do it as you get 1 for each color in each IP, or maybe like 1 for 3 IPs each color, and so you need to buy 4 of them at $25 a pop, get it for 100. That's what we did for the Bleach one. Or they can even do it by IP itself. Say, hey, you want 1 for Hunter x Hunter. You'll get a green one, a purple one, a yellow one, and a blue one. 4 of each in this if you buy it for $50. $50 so that I get to play all of my Hunter x Hunter decks and not feel bad playing it if I have to play against Red Kenshin. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm down to do that. I mean, I know a lot of people, they think that the binder sets aren't something that they want, but at the end of the day, if it's a catch-up mechanic that doesn't require you to open a case of product to be able to get what you want, or rely on somebody else opening it and then buying the singles 2 to 3 weeks later, just simple transaction, I buy it, it's mine, I have it, it's here, I'm game. I like that a lot. Another thing that we can do inside of our format is introduce a different game style. I have talked on this channel quite a lot about the multicolor melee format, where you have to play a deck of a different color, 3 decks, ban 1, play against the others. I still think for competitive play that would be the most highly skilled competitive deck building you can possibly get. Of course, the majority of sweats who aren't going to think very much are going to go, I'm going to pick the 2 Kenshin decks, and then the third one, Lancelot, because that's a big dumb green deck, and big dumb green does good things. I think those people would get ran over once they realize what actual competition looks like when you have to choose between 3 decks and somebody can ban one of the decks from being played. So I think that would be another fantastic thing that we can do. But all of that has been my little spiel. Red Kenshin, best deck in format. Roy Mustang and Saito, hard counters against it. Renji Rush in the hands of a really good player, soft counter against it. And everything else, you have a few decks that can compete against it, and a lot of decks that don't play against it in your locals if you can help. It is what it is. That is the format. And hopefully Bandai is going to be able to see this and do something about it with a little bit of haste, because I love this game. It's a fantastic game. And this event was fantastic to watch, regardless of how the outcome came. It was amazing to watch. And at least Red Kenshin is a deck that requires brain cells to be good at. I am so thankful for that as well. It's not an easy to pilot, I'm going to win just by picking it up deck. You have to have practice. You have to have reps. So I do like that a lot. And I can't wait to see Canada so we can see how healthy the format actually is once people get their reps in and know how to play against it. But that's going to be everything from me. If you have any other ideas of what Bandai can do to, help incentivize these older IPs and get a different breath of life into them, please comment it down below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.